Last year's NBA Live 08 focused on adding features such as quick strike ball handling and had the aim of streamlining the existing mechanics. The intention was good, but the results weren't terribly impressive. So NBA Live 09 promised to return to basketball fundamentals by focusing a little more on play calling and strategy. It's back to basics. Ankle breakers, low post play, and pick and rolls are all heavily featured now. Whether this proves to be a more realistic basketball sim or not is highly debatable. First off, the good news. The new pick and roll system works really well. You press the button and the game automatically sets a pick, and the amount of time you depress the button determines if you either cut to the basket before the actual pick, roll like normal, or you slide and pop out. The system is quite satisfying, and it can lead to some devastating alley-oops or breaks to the basket. Also new are quick strike ankle breakers, which are tied to the right stick. This does work technically. Hesitation steps and crossovers can give you a head start by a few steps. But the rampant rubber banding present in the game destroys any benefit this might give you. Oftentimes, the tempo of the game slows down, and defenders catch up for inexplicable reasons. But still, this isn't realistic at all. The fastest players in the game shouldn't be shut down by some funky rubber band effect. Another disappointment is the new lockdown control, where you can immediately put a body on a ball handler with the left stick. This does make low post play much more involved because there's a lot of guesswork of what exactly the ball handler is going to do, just like in a real game. However, it's also hit or miss. Sometimes your player just won't do it, and sometimes it misreads the motion, and it creates a gap to the lane. It's a good idea, but it really needs to be tweaked before it can be fully usable for the game. However, the main addition to NBA Live 09 is the dynamic DNA system. It basically takes info and stats that's gathered by Synergy Sports Technologies and updates your game with this data every day. This means if a player is traded or injured during the current season, that will happen in the game too. This also extends to team and player behavior. If a player's been sinking threes like no tomorrow, that info will be put into the game. Now this sounds pretty cool, but there are a few problems with it. For one, the new season starts in a month, so people will have to wait to fully use this feature. For another, if you're not a major stat head, chances are you either won't care or you won't notice this at all when you're playing. You can play based on the DNA stats that pop up during the game, but oftentimes it's irreverent info. Sometimes you'll score from the low post and you'll get a stat about the perimeter. Or you can spin to the right and it'll tell you something about that player spinning to the left. But on the positive side, the DNA can also suggest plays based on conditions of the game, and that part actually works rather well. Overall, it's a cool idea, but it'll take the real season to start to see just how well this will deliver. There's also a new RPG Lite element in the form of the NBA Academy. Drills can augment your player's stats in Dynasty mode, and the points you get from objectives can improve your staff's stats. My gripe with it is that it feels very unrealistic. Any sane GM would just fire incompetent staff, not wait for him to slowly get passable or improve his skills. Overall, this game just feels unfinished. The Be a Pro mode feels tacked on because it only relates to one specific game that you play and nothing else. There's a lot of clipping and a lot of collision problems, animations can be very awkward, and the crowd just looks completely awful. There are some good ideas in NBA Live 09, but I can't help but feel that they were undercooked. It's still a solid game of basketball, and people will have fun with it if that's all they're really looking for. But for the rest of us, well, it's back to that old unfortunate sports adage. There's always next year. For the full written review, check out IGN.com.